Okay, so picture this. It's night, you're out in the wilderness somewhere, all the trees start looking like, I don't know, weird shapes, and every little sound just makes you jump.
Yeah, that feeling. And tonight, we're not talking about made-up stuff.
No, absolutely not. We're actually going to tell some true stories, experiences shared by people who found themselves lost out there after dark, and things got pretty terrifying.
These are real accounts.
Yeah.
And they really show how fast things can change, you know?
Yeah.
How quickly that normal feeling disappears when you're alone and it's dark.
Exactly. So we've got 3 stories lined up. First, there's this solo camper up in Washington State. Started peaceful, ended up, well, a nightmare. Then we have a driver's story, really strange, unsettling thing that happened after a wrong turn, ending up at this isolated motel.
Okay.
And finally, a hiker. Someone who thought they knew the trail, but as it got dark, things started feeling very, very wrong.
Right. They all start out pretty normal, don't they? Just regular activities.
Yeah, totally innocent plans, but they escalate. Okay, let's start with that camping trip in Washington.
Right. So this person, they head out for a solo trip. Should have been peaceful, right? Setting up the tent, campfire.
The usual quiet evening in the woods.
Exactly. But then this stranger shows up, just stands there by the campfire, doesn't say anything. Apparently, it immediately felt wrong.
Yeah, that's a big red flag right there.
Definitely should have been a warning.
And it didn't stop there, did it? It got worse.
So much worse. The camper goes to sleep, tries to ignore it maybe.
Yeah.
But then they wake up later. Here's a fire crackling again.
Oh no. The fire they put out.
Yeah. Imagine unzipping your tent and seeing that fire going again. And now there are 4 men sitting around it, just staring. And one of them
Let me guess.
was the same silent guy from earlier.
Wow. That's terrifying. What happened then?
Well, it turned violent, fast. They grabbed the camper, robbed them, assaulted them. It's brutal.
Oh my.
And what's really disturbing, I think, is that after all that, they just left them there. Alone, hurt, disoriented, in the middle of the dark forest.
Just abandon them. The helplessness. I can't even imagine.
Totally vulnerable. You're lost. It's pitch black, dense woods, no idea where you are.
And injured too, presumably.
Right. And then somehow, after apparently passing out and waking up again, just when you think maybe it's over,
What? Something else.
the camper sees lights, flashlights, another group of people moving through the woods.
Oh man, after what just happened, I'd run.
Exactly what they did. Didn't wait to see who it was. Just pure survival instinct kicked in. Fled.
Understandable, completely. You wouldn't trust anyone at that point.
No way. That second encounter, even if those people weren't a threat, it just highlights the psychological state, you know? Everything becomes a danger.
So did they get out?
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Kept running, somehow stumbled onto the interstate and got help. It's kind of grimly lucky, in a way.
You could say that. But the fact that it was the fear from seeing those other people that maybe pushed them in the right direction.
It's strange, isn't it? It highlights how unpredictable it all is. That second scare might have actually saved their life by forcing them to keep moving.
It really makes you wonder about that first group, though. What was their real intention? Robbery, assault, sure, but leaving someone like that.
It's chillingly callous. Leaving someone to potentially die out there, it suggests something darker, maybe, than just robbery.
Yeah, really disturbing questions there. Okay, let's shift gears to the second story. This one's about a driver. Long drive, dense forest, nighttime.
And heavy rain, apparently. Adds another layer of isolation, doesn't it? Makes the road feel even darker.
For sure. And a lot of us, we rely so much on GPS these days.
Exactly. And this story really touches on that. The driver's GPS suddenly malfunctions, just stops working correctly.
Oh, great. So now they're lost. Middle of nowhere, unfamiliar roads, pouring rain.
It's a very modern kind of vulnerability, isn't it? When the tech fails. Makes you think about needing backups, like old school maps.
Definitely. But getting lost was just the beginning of the weirdness, right?
Yeah. So we're driving around lost, and they come across this motel. Looks isolated, maybe even abandoned.
Okay. Creepy on its own.
But then, the same truck they'd noticed earlier back when they first got confused by the GPS, at an intersection, that same truck pulls into the motel parking lot too.
Wait, the same truck? That can't be a coincidence.
Doesn't feel like it, does it?
Okay.
It really suggests maybe they were being followed. Deliberately.
Okay, that's immediately way more sinister.
And then the driver of the truck gets out, comes over, and asks this lost driver for directions. But the address he asks for is weird. Really specific, apparently, but just seemed totally out of place for that location.
Like a test. Or just trying to seem normal.
Maybe. It feels like a very strange, calculated way to start an interaction, doesn't it? trying to engage them. What could be the point of that?
I don't know, but here's where it gets properly scary, right?
Yeah. The lost driver, feeling uneasy, presumably stays in their car. But then they see the truck driver reappear inside the motel.
Inside, but it looked abandoned.
Exactly. A place that seemed totally deserted.
Yeah.
And now this guy's inside, soaking wet from the rain, hand hidden in his pocket, just looking menacing.
Okay, nope, time to go.
Absolutely the right move. The driver hits the gas, tries to get out of there.
Did the truck driver react?
Oh yeah, he apparently ran towards their car, even tried to yank the door open as they were pulling away.
Wow. That's not just weird anymore, that's actively aggressive. A clear threat.
No question. It escalates from deeply unsettling to outright dangerous in seconds. What was he planning?
And the final piece, the really chilling part.
The driver gets away, makes it to a city eventually.
Yeah.
But later finds out that motel, it had been closed down for months.
Closed for months. So what was he doing there? Who was he?
Right. It just throws everything into question. The truck, the weird directions, being inside the closed motel, it all points to something premeditated, something really bad, potentially.
Why pretend to ask for directions? What did he want with a lone driver lost in the rain? It leaves you with this awful feeling.
A real sense of dread. It suggests, these hidden dangers can exist in the most unexpected rundown places. That abandoned building wasn't empty.
Gives me chills. Okay, let's talk about the third story. This one's a hiker. Solo hike. Supposed to be on a familiar trail.
Yeah, something a lot of people enjoy, right? Getting out in nature, the peace, the challenge.
This hiker started out confident. They'd prepared, thought they knew the route's supposed to be about an 8-hour round trip.
But the first clue something was wrong was just time. The hike was taking way longer than expected.
Right, like if you've been walking for 6 hours and you're nowhere near the halfway point of what you thought was an 8-hour total hike, that's a problem.
That's a huge warning sign for any solo hiker. You need to constantly monitor your progress, the time, the conditions. What do you do then?
Well, they realized maybe it wasn't 8 hours round trip, maybe it was 8 hours each way, which means turning back.
And probably getting caught out after dark. A really tough spot to be in.
So they decide to turn back. And as they're retracing their steps, things get stranger.
Yeah, this is where the unease starts. They notice footprints, not their own. Footprints crossing their path, leading off into the dense woods.
Footprints that shouldn't be there.
Exactly. It's that feeling of something or someone else being out there, something that doesn't quite fit. That's when the fear really starts creeping in, isn't it? The unknown in a place you thought you knew.
Totally. And then the trail itself seemed to change.
The path they thought they were following back suddenly widened, became unfamiliar. That moment of realizing you are genuinely properly lost. The disorientation must be intense.
Yeah, absolute panic starting to set in, I imagine.
And as it got darker, properly dark, it got worse. They found more footprints, fresh ones. Again, heading off the trail, just going straight into the trees.
Suggesting someone was nearby, but hiding, staying off the path.
That's the implication. In the dark, every sound is amplified. Every shadow looks like something. It plays on those primal fears, doesn't it? Being watched, hunted, maybe.
And the climax of this one, it's really subtle, but so scary.
It really is. The hiker catches a glimpse, just a fleeting sight, of someone hiding in the darkness nearby, close enough that they could actually see the person's breath fogging in the cold air.
Oh, wow. That close, an unseen person right there, knowing they're there but not seeing them clearly, that's profoundly disturbing.
Just knowing someone is that close, concealed, with unknown intentions, terrifying.
So the hiker obviously got out of there fast.
Yes, they retreated quickly, managed to find their way back to their car eventually. Huge relief. But the story doesn't quite end there.
Oh, there's more.
Weeks later, the hiker hears news reports. 2 bodies had been discovered in that same forest area.
Oh my God, seriously?
Yeah. And it just casts this incredibly sinister shadow over their whole experience. Makes you wonder, how close did they actually come to whatever happened to those 2 people? Was the person hiding in the dark connected?
That is chilling. The possibility that they were that close to extreme danger, maybe even a killer, it makes you rethink seemingly safe, familiar trails.
Absolutely. It suggests hidden dangers can exist even in places we feel comfortable, places that are accessible. You just don't know.
So these 3 stories, they're different, but there's that common theme, isn't there? Just being alone, lost in the dark, that vulnerability.
Extreme vulnerability.
Yeah.
And the potential for encountering something truly unknown and terrifying.
Yeah.
A normal day, camping, driving, hiking, suddenly turns into this fight for survival.
Both and physically, yeah.
And the darkness itself, it just changes everything. Makes familiar places seem alien, amps up the fear. These stories are pretty stark reminders, I think.
Reminders that the wilderness can be beautiful, sure, but it can also hide things. Unseen dangers, people with bad intentions.
Unpredictable encounters, yeah.
It really does make you think, doesn't it? How many times are we just unaware, walking past something potentially sinister without even realizing it? Anyway, thank you for listening along with us to these unsettling accounts.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
If these stories grabbed you, maybe gave you a chill, please do like this, share it, and subscribe to the Horror Docs channel. We'll have more stories to tell.